This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio, it's The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm George Camel, Ramsey personality, host of the Fine Print and Entree Leadership podcast, and I'm joined today by the wonderful Rachel Cruz, best-selling author, host of The Rachel Cruz Show, all-around great person. Rachel, how are you?
Doing great, George.
This is our second time hosting together. We were such a fan favorite. We're back.
The votes are in. The votes are in.
I wish that was a true
back.
story. It was just the luck of the draw this time. But I do enjoy hosting with you. Two of our money personalities together. We're like the Avengers. Avenging debt, I guess, and the student loan crisis.
Take over the world in the student loan crisis. I love it.
I'm here for it.
We should.
It's a free call this hour. Open phones, 888-825-5225 is the number to call. Hopefully Kelly gets you through, and we can have a conversation about whatever's on your mind. Whatever you're worried about, something maybe you're excited about, maybe there's a decision you're trying to make and you just need some affirmation from some friends. We are those friends today.
That's right. That's what I love about this. It's everything around your life, right? I mean, obviously through the money lens for a lot of people, but money touches every part of our lives, so it adds in the relationships, it adds in the stress and the anxiety, it adds in everything. So it is life. I mean, in and out, day in, day out.
I love it. Well, let's get to it. Here's what we're here for. Sean is on the line in Los Angeles. Sean, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
So I'll get to it. I just bought my wife and I just got married, paid for our honeymoon and all that stuff. Everything is good.
Congrats.
We just bought her a car cash. Thank you very much. So we just bought her a car cash, and then we ended up out of vehicle. So we have about maybe $11,000 saved after everything, and then I'm going to get $6,000 back from the other one. So I'm wondering, do we go do I kind of try to spend it all on something and try to get something a little more reliable, or do I nickel and dime at $5,000 and then throw the rest of it? The only debt we have is a student loan, so trying to tackle that too. So I'm not really sure what we should do.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't like the word only debt. It's the only debt I have. How much is this debt, the student loan?
It's pretty steep. It's like $57,000, but we're good earners, and we had it mapped out. It just something unfortunate happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How urgent is this car purchase?
It has to be done. Yeah. We both commute for work, so we got to do it.
And you have one car right now?
One car, yeah.
Okay, so you need another car for the job, and you have $11,000 saved in cash. Is that all of your savings? Everything liquid cash you have right now?
Yeah, it was all we had kind of. I had planned on just throwing that straight at the debt, and then this came up. So now, but we do have. I'll get $6,000 back from everything else.
What's everything else?
My insurance. We crashed.
Okay, so they'll write you a check for $6,000. You're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that helps. We got all the details down, Rachel.
Yeah, I mean, Sean, if I was in your boat because of the student loan, obviously you guys need a car. I mean, we talk about your four walls, transportation is one of those. So I am not against, obviously, you getting a car. But no, I would not spend all of this on the car because you can still get a reliable used car. I mean, it's amazing. Honestly, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, what that will get you. No, it's not going to be a beautiful car. It's going to be an older one. But you go get, a Honda Civic or a Toyota Camry. There are cars out there that their reputation is to be reliable. And again, it may not be the thing you want to drive for the rest of your life, which is fine. But going ahead and getting a car as inexpensive as possible. So again, I'm talking $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, and then keeping $1,000 for your emergency fund, and then throwing the rest at this debt. So I really would concentrate on that. And the great thing about $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 cars is they really don't go down in value very quickly. So by the time you guys are out of debt, in 3 more years, you guys can upgrade to an awesome car, and that time is going to fly so quick. So I would put as much money towards the student loan, Sean, as possible. And I'll add this too, Sean. You and your wife, how long you guys have been married? What? Really recent, you said.
Oh yeah, October. Yeah, they just got married.
Oh, October. Okay. So honestly, this is kind of a fun may not be the right word, George. I love the word fun. So everything feels fun to me. This could be a really unifying goal for you and your new wife to experience something together as a newlywed couple, and any couples, but especially when you're newlyweds, to have something that you guys are sacrificing and working towards together. There's something really unifying about that you get to experience early on in marriage. So I would almost look at it like that, hey, it sucks that we have all this student loan debt, but man, if we attack this together, there is this bridge between you two that gets built in such a quicker way when you have a unified goal.
Yeah. And Sean, I'll tell you, I drive a 2009 Honda Civic with body damage. So it's exactly what Rachel's saying. And I paid $6,000 for it back in 2017. Still drives perfectly today. And we have the money to get a new car, but I'm like, it's fine. And I kind of like that it has some body damage. You get a little ding on it, you don't care. So let this be a memory that you guys look back on and let it fuel you to go, gosh, I hate this car. I wish we had a nicer car. Let's pay off this debt ASAP so that we can get that nicer car. But what happens is people get a nicer car and they get comfortable with their student loans sitting here like a pet, and they never pay them off. And so I want you to get gazelle intense on this. What was that?
Yeah, we're hardcore on it. We just we had already planned on it. I had mapped out like the next 6 months to take care of it. We just it just something came up, and I'm like, I don't know if we should,
Totally. No, I hear you.
You're going to pay off the student loan in 6 months.
We'll take care of it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hopefully.
Wow.
That's the idea. But
what's your household income?
Together we do like 165. So.
Heck yeah. This thing is definitely gone in 6 months or less. And guess what? You can then sell that car for probably about what you paid if the market is what it is.
Perfect.
And you can upgrade before the year is over, before 2022 ends.
Awesome. Thank you for the help, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for the call.
Cars are so interesting because there's like this level of like a standard of living, a level of luxury, this thing that cars have become.
It represents something.
Dave's opener of the show is this, the BMW is now the status symbol of choice. And it is, I'm like, and what, I don't know, I just laugh at myself sometimes because I can be that. I want a Tesla. That's I'm not a car person, but whenever I see a Tesla, I'm like, man, I want a Tesla so bad. But I'm like, a car gets you from point A to point B.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like if you go to like the utility of it, if you just look at the utility of it, and then like you said too, the nicer the car, a little bit more, the more stressed you are, the more you're thinking, oh gosh, I got to keep it clean. If something happens, right? It becomes this, it fills your emotional tank where it's like, oh, it doesn't need to, right? Because it's just stuff. So cars are just they're fascinating.
I know. There's a big spectrum, especially with guys. I mean, guys calling into the show.
Yeah.
It's always they want the nice car and they want to impress the buddies and they got to have the premium features.
Yeah. So I would be curious. I wish we could like take a poll like Instagram on the radio, but we can't. But I'm like, okay, for like the longing for a new car, especially for a guy, is it? Do you think, George, more of the perception of what it brings, or is it that you just like nice things and you like to get into a car and it smells good, it's all new technology, like it's fun? I wonder what percentage it is for most people out there.
I think that's a bit of both, but I think if you're an I Am Legend scenario and you're the only person in the world left, I don't think you're that worried about what other people think about your truck.
So true.
So I think part of it is you want to go with your buddies and go, hey dude, check out these rims I just got.
If I ever get a Tesla, George, I'm gonna say, George,
I'm taking a ride in that
come
thing.
look at my Tesla. I will be one of those people that tells you.
I love it. Well, hey, folks, it's a free call, 888-825-5225. I'm George Camel. That's Rachel Cruz. We'll be back with you real soon.
If you're ready to get out there and find a job you love, then you need to hear this. Job hunting can be stressful and time-consuming, but my friends at ZipRecruiter have made the whole job search way easier. ZipRecruiter is rated the #1 job site in the US by G2, and it's free. So how does it work? First, go to ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. Then create a free profile and let their technology do the hard work by finding and sending you jobs that are a great fit. And get this, ZipRecruiter pitches your profile to companies whose jobs match your skills and experience. If someone from that company likes your profile, they can personally invite you to apply for the job. So if you're ready for an easier job search, check out ZipRecruiter. Sign up for free right now at ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. Sign up today, absolutely free, and let ZipRecruiter work for you.
This is The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, host of the Fine Print and Entree Leadership Podcast, joined today by Rachel Cruz, host of The Rachel Cruz Show. All of those you can find on the Ramsey Network. Well, I've got a question for you. Is it too soon to start talking about Christmas? I know Thanksgiving's still a couple weeks away, but here's the deal. Me and the rest of the Ramsey team are already in a Christmas frame of mind. And it's not just the Hallmark movies, Rachel. A big reason for that is that we're already giving away cash as part of our Christmas cash giveaway. We love being generous around here, especially with Dave's money. It's my spiritual gift of mine to give away Dave's money. So here we are. Every year we celebrate Christmas with our Ramsey Show listeners with our Ramsey Christmas cash giveaway. It's become a tradition of ours. And this year we're giving away $500 every single week and a grand prize of $5,000. You can enter every day to increase your chances of winning. Just go to RamseySolutions.com/giveaway to enter, and you can go ahead and get in on the giving too. We've got all kinds of life-changing gifts for your family and friends and our famous $10 sale. That means you can shop over 40 of our best-selling books and envelopes for just $10 or less. Get books like The Total Money Makeover, Dave's #1 bestseller, and Rachel's newest book, Know Yourself, Know Your Money, both on sale for just $10. That's a good deal. This year, forget the one-time use presents and gift a lifetime of hope. Shop the $10 sale at RamseySolutions.com. Mike joins us in New York City. Mike, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Much appreciated. I have a two-part question. The first part deals with my pension. I am forced by my employer to put in 6% of my total earnings towards the pension. And I was curious as to how you guys and Dave think about that 6% as it contributes to the entire 15% that you recommend for retirement savings. And the second part of my question deals with my current TDA, my tax-deferred annuity. It's a 403B. And currently I'm putting in 9% of my gross. And it's a fixed guaranteed return of 7%. It's what I'm guaranteed. I guess it was negotiated through the state legislator that I'm guaranteed to do 7%. I was told that this is very rare and it's a great deal, but I've also been told by you guys that opening up a Roth IRA is a really good choice. So I'm debating about moving my finances from my 403B into a Roth IRA, maxing that out $5,000 or $6,000 a year. I forgot what the max contribution is. And then whatever I have left over, putting that leftover towards the 403B annuity with a guaranteed fixed of 7%. And I just want to know what you guys think about that second question as well.
Okay, cool. So let's start with the first question. The mandatory 6% contribution, is that coming from your own salary? This is not something that the employer is contributing on their part.
Yeah, it's from my own salary. It comes right on my paycheck. I have no choice in the matter.
So they're just forcing your first 6% out of the 15, essentially.
Exactly. Because I'm part of the New York City and part of the state, the pension contribution is mandatory.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with counting that as part of your 15 since it's coming out of your paycheck.
Yes. Yep.
Right.
So that will be included in the 15. And then whatever is left of that, looking like you're saying at the 403B, what percentage are you putting in the 403B?
So I'm putting in 9%. So if I do the 6% for the pension and then another 9%, that gets me to my 15%. Right.
Yes. Well, my knee-jerk reaction always, I just love the Roth IRA. I mean, it is tried and true, and it grows tax-free, and usually you can get more. I mean, I know they're guaranteeing 7%, but with the Roth, I mean, my husband and I, we even just looked at our stuff.
The rate of return?
Yeah, it's just, you can get more even just in the market, and so that's where I tend to lean, Mike, to go ahead, like you said, that your knee-jerk reaction, I would do that. I would do as much as I can in that Roth IRA, but then whatever is left after you do that $6,000 when you max out that Roth, if there is anything left, I think you just walked us through it. And I'm like, that's exactly right. I would put the rest in that 403B.
Yeah, I guess I'm calling just to confirm I'm doing the steps correctly, and I think I am. I guess my only concern was, what if if you look at the S&P 500 over the last 30 years, I think it's an average rate of return of around 8.5, which is obviously higher than 7%. The only great thing about the 7% is that it's guaranteed. It's set by the state legislator. I have literally zero risk of loss at all. So that's why it's like, oh, that's pretty unique and unheard of. So that's why I was questioning what percentage. Should I only put 1 or 2% towards that fixed rate of return and then dump the rest into the Roth IRA? And you guys are saying, yes, it is in fact worth it.
Yeah, I think it is, because I think you're going to average out more than 7% over this. How old are you, Mike?
I'm 37.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, you still have, you
got plenty of time.
a few decades. And so I would, because again, I think that, while the market, sure, it goes up and down, it's done great. And so I don't know.
Another piece of this, Rachel, is the control factor. In the Roth IRA, you're going to have control of what funds are invested. I don't know, Mike, how much control you have over the options in this 403B piece. If they're guaranteeing that 7%, I don't know how they're guaranteeing that, or if they have full control. What's the situation there?
So great question. So from what I understand, the fixed guarantee return 7%, that was negotiated through my union and collective bargaining through the state legislature. So 7% is locked in place. Now, that is an option for me. In addition to that, I also have options of playing around with the market, doing equity diversity funds. I can sort of spread my contributions however I want. But currently, I'm putting it all in the bucket of fixed return. Does that make sense?
Got it. Yeah. And what I would do too is you can bounce this off of one of our SmartVestor pros in your area, a financial advisor who can just go, hey, this is what's going to make the most sense for your age, for what your situation is and your goals. They can walk through all the nitty-gritty, the nerdy numbers with you to help you make that decision. But if I'm you, I'm going to the Roth IRA, and whatever's left over, it's not a bad plan to throw some money in that as well, especially with the guaranteed rate of return there. So thanks for the question. Appreciate that. Matt joins us next in Houston, Texas. Matt, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thank you for having me, guys. How are y'all doing today?
Doing great. How can we help?
Awesome. So my wife and I are new to the baby steps. We're currently on baby step 2, trying to pay off some of our debts. And before we got on board with the whole program, I had invested during the pandemic when the market crashed. I invested into some stocks, which I'm learning now that it's not the best option to have. So what we're trying to figure out is if it would make sense to go ahead and pull out our current investments, obviously take out what would be tax-free capital gains and put that aside for the end of the year, but then utilize the other funds to pay off some of our debt. I'm just wondering if that's a good idea or what you guys would suggest we do with that.
Yeah, I like this plan so far. How much debt do you have?
So we currently have about $75,000 in debt, 50 of that being student loans. The other 2 are car loans.
Okay, and how much is in this investment?
Total in the investment is around $21,000.
Okay, so we're not going to knock out the debt completely, even by cashing these out, but it'll help kickstart this process for you.
Right.
Yeah,
that's the thought process. At least get that going. I mean, we also have around $11,000 in savings, and that's kind of like, that's our limit right now. As my wife just gets a little weary when the bank drops a little bit, especially with my job. I'm prone to injuries because I teach tennis, and so like right now I'm dealing with some injury pains and a hernia, and so that extra money she doesn't want to go below that just in case something happens. But again, any guidance on that situation would be helpful for us as well.
Yeah. Well, your first question, Matt, I would. Anything that is not retirement, I would cash out and throw at the debt, because you're going to be able to go and invest double, twice, 3 times as more when you have no payments. Like when you guys are completely debt free and you have an emergency fund, suddenly you're going to feel your income be able to be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then you guys have time to go and invest more into things like retirement.
And that security gland is flaring up over here. But if I'm you guys, I'm going down to that 1,000. That's going to give you 31 total to throw at the debt. And the sooner you get rid of this debt, that's when you have true security, true financial peace. So I think you guys have the hard conversation about using this money and savings to kickstart this debt and really start to paint the picture of what you want that future to look like. Rooting for you guys. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're looking for ways to update your home without blowing the budget, I've got it. For years, I've been telling you about our friends at Blinds.com. Blinds.com makes it simple to shop top quality blinds, shades, and interior shutters from home with easy online ordering and free shipping. With Blinds.com, there's no need to renovate your entire home. Just change out what's on your windows with upscale choices like faux wood blinds, cellular and roller shades, or even outdoor shades. Plus, Blinds.com guarantees the perfect fit, whether you do it yourself or you have them measure and install everything for you. Shop their latest looks and see how much you can save at Blinds.com today. The easy and affordable way to make your home more beautiful is Blinds.com.
I'm George Campbell. Next to me is Rachel Cruz, and this is The Ramsey Show. It's a free call, 888-825-5225. Let's have a conversation about your life and your money. What's on your mind? Let us know. Let's have a little fun Friday conversation about it. Agnes decided to join us in New York City. Agnes, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hi, thanks so much for taking my call.
Absolutely.
So my question is that my husband and I are finishing baby step 3, so we're getting ready for investing, and we're starting to think about it. Yay! But we don't know anything about investing, at least not much. And I was wondering if a SmartVestor Pro would be helpful in, when we start to invest in a company 401k, or that's something that, being that it's not there, we're not investing with the SmartVestor Pro, would they still help with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
And I, in fact, have a SmartVestor Pro, and I show them what's going on in my company, Ramsey 401k, and every year I'll just go, hey, does this still make sense to you? All the, allocated across these funds, and it takes the pressure off of me to go, oh, okay, good. I'm doing the right thing. I shouldn't be doing anything differently. So absolutely, they have a heart of a teacher, and they'll educate you from start to finish. That's why they're there. They're not there to sell you on products. They're there to help you understand where you're putting your money.
Yeah, and hopefully, for you guys, you'll have more to invest than just the 401k, because you'll take that match, but then maybe you'll open up a Roth IRA like we talked about in the last segment. There are other retirement options out there that they can even help show you. And I'll say this,
Sure.
I remember when my husband and I, we got married 12 years ago, which is so crazy. And after we got married, we sat down with the SmartVestor Pro that was here in Nashville, and even being Dave Ramsey's daughter, let me just say, I had so many questions. I didn't quite even understand some of it. And I kind of felt stupid at first asking some of the questions, because I was like, God, these are probably dumb questions that are like super elementary and I should know this. But the more I asked and the more he started explaining, I was like, okay, there's a level of knowledge you're going to want when you're putting your money into something. So don't be afraid to ask questions, honestly. You may feel stupid, or like, I should know this. I'm an adult, I pay taxes. Like, I feel like I should know these things. And you don't. I mean, or you may not. Like, and things like insurance. I laughed about taxes, but seriously, taxes, investing, it's these niche parts of our financial picture that people that work in these industries, hopefully the ones that, or the ones that we recommend, are kind people. They're going to help you, and they're there to teach you, like George said. And these people eat and breathe this stuff. They do it day in and day out. They meet with all types of people, all income level. I mean, they see it all. So I don't want you to feel inadequate at all when you guys go sit down for the first time. Ask as many questions. I want you to be able to understand what you're putting your money into. So when you leave that office, that you could explain it to someone else, right? Like that, it so well. So absolutely, I would have a financial advisor in my corner.
And do we first? I understand. And do we first go to the financial advisor, or do we first try to open it up with the company, the 401k?
Well, it'll probably be through your company, but they're going to be able to guide you in it, like what George is saying. And then other things that you may decide to put your money in, they're going to be able to help you in that.
You can open up the 401k, and then they can help you select what funds inside of that 401k you're putting your money into. And so that's what's going to help. Obviously, we have a lot of resources at RamseySolutions.com to help teach you what the Ramsey way is across 4 different types of growth stock mutual funds. And we've got a new book coming out from Dave, Baby Steps Millionaires, where he really unpacks his own investing strategy. And I love that Dave does exactly what he tells other people to do. He's not out here jumping on single stocks and telling everyone else to go into mutual funds. So we really try to practice what we preach around here. And those SmartVestor pros, they're aligned with the Ramsey principles, and they're going to treat you right. So absolutely reach out and just get some information and get some guidance from them, even if it's for your company 401k. And maybe down the line, like Rachel said, you work with them on another project. Like we did that when we were saving up for our down payment.
Oh, yeah.
We invested for the long term, and we worked with our SmartVestor Pro. Absolutely, Agnes. Way to go. Baby step 4, here we come.
Feels good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for the call. Josh joins us next in Seattle, Washington. Josh, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, thanks for taking my call, George and Rachel.
Yeah.
I'm a small business owner out here, and we've built this business over 10 years and done fine. But the last couple of years, we've just gone gangbusters, made more money than we've ever made. And through that, my wife and I have accumulated a good stockpile of cash just in regular savings accounts. And we're looking to build a house in the next couple of years. So for now, I've just left that in savings accounts. It's just been piling up, and we're getting 0.5% of interest, which is the very highest rate we can find around. My question is, should I be doing something else with that money? It just feels wrong, especially with all the talk of inflation, the reality of inflation. I'm not worried about hyperinflation, but there's a reality right now, especially in the building cost world. Or should we just sit on that, depending on when we're going to build a house, probably starting the soonest next spring, and just sit on it and wait? Wondering what you think we should do.
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm just curious, Josh, what do you guys do for a living? Just what's gone crazy? What kind of business?
Sure, yeah, we're in the gun and ammo business.
Awesome.
There
Very
you go.
Cool.
That has gone crazy, for sure.
Very cool. Yeah, so I'll say, if you guys know you're going to be building in the next 3 years or less, 4 years or less, I would just keep it where it is, Josh, which I know hurts. My husband and I, we did the same thing. We had saved, and we had saved for longer than even that, and kept it just in like a money market. And we look back, and Winston was like, I guess that was the right decision. We still talk about it because it was over a longer period of time. But especially especially if it's 3 years or less, our rule of thumb at Ramsey is really 5 years or less. And so in this case, anywhere from 3 to 5 years, if you know you're going to be building in that time, I would just keep it where it is, even though I get it. Like, you're not making a ton back, I know, but it's kind of the safest route. It's just the money that you have. Because if something dips, if something happens, and you guys want to go and build, and you don't have the time to let it regain where it was, then that kind of sucks.
Yeah. When you have that tight time horizon of we want to build at this date, that's where I start to get real nervous about putting it in the market for a short period of time. Josh, how much money is this?
In our personal savings accounts, about $550,000, and then we're a little heavy on the business right now. I have another $250,000 in retained earnings in the business, which is a lot more than we normally keep there. Awesome.
So, man, are you guys investing though, John, or Josh, for like retirement and all of that? Like, are you doing other stuff, or are you just really focusing on just saving this up?
We've been doing 15% of our take-home pay. Raises a good point. I guess we just continued to do that off our base salary that we pay ourselves. I've not done that out of this excess, and perhaps that is a portion of it that we should take and set aside for long-term investing. This excess we've just piled up, in cash, and along the way paid, the $400,000 for a piece of land that we'll build on. So that's, debt-free and ready to build. But,
yeah, that's what I was going to say, is that you can use that. No, I would use what you have to do is put as much away to the house as possible when you guys start building, for sure.
Should we take 15% of that and invest it? Is that considered part of our 15%, part of our income on which we should be doing investing?
No, I wouldn't. If you guys already are investing on just the income you bring in.
You said you're doing it on the take-home pay, though, right? The investing?
Well, we're doing it on our base salary, so what we've paid ourselves for years. We take 15% of that, out of our regular, $130,000 a year or whatever, and invest on that. Out of all this excess, we've done zero investing.
No, I think that's fine, because again, you're saving this money for the house to build, so that's what this money is.
A lot of different goal here. How much house are we talking, ideally, for you guys?
Probably the build costs somewhere between $800,000-900,000.
Okay. I mean, you guys are so close to being able to pay cash for something like this. Awesome. If you just kept saving up with this business crushing it like it is, and you waited 2 years, I mean, that could be a really cool stretch goal for you guys.
Yeah, and I think if we sell our current house that we're in, it'll definitely be able to cash flow. And that's another question in the back of our mind is, do we keep that as a rental or do we sell the current place and just cash flow the whole build? So
yeah, if you're able to cash flow the whole build, I would keep it.
It's pretty baller.
For a rental.
Yeah,
I would.
If you got a paid-for property, and
yep.
I mean that's pretty cool, man. You guys have done really,
I know.
really well.
Congrats, Josh. That's
awesome. I just love
awesome.
hearing stories like that, Rachel.
It's awesome. I
Warms
know.
my heart.
It warms my
to see
heart.
people go, yeah, we got like $800,000 in cash and we're crushing it.
I know.
I mean, this is what we like to hear. So
awesome.
Thank you so much for the call, Josh. Way to go. This is the Ramsey Show. Listening to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, joined by Rachel Cruz today. And it's a free call, 888-825-5225. Call us up. We'll talk about your life and your money. Michael joins us in Phoenix. Michael, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Yes, hi, George, Rachel. Thank you for taking my call. I hope you guys are better than you deserve.
We are, for sure. How are you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Pretty good. So a couple questions. Well, one major. A little bit of background. Just became homeless back in September due to some unforeseen circumstances.
Sorry to hear that.
But I'm a single dad, 2 kids, trying to build back better, if you will. And I have a great job, but don't know where to start really. I've got my emergency fund in place. Got into a cheaper car, got into a cheaper apartment, and just really trying to take control of my finances so my finances aren't taking control of me anymore.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're doing a lot better than you were not long ago. So you're in an apartment now. You've got somewhere safe to stay, and the kids are safe?
Yep, absolutely.
And you've got the job. What's your income?
Don't know the annual, but 26 an hour. I'm a truck driver.
Truck driving, 26 an hour. That's great. And is child care a part of the equation here?
Negative.
Okay. Good. And you have debt?
I don't know how you would label consumer debt, but creditor debt.
Okay. How much debt is owed currently?
Student loans, car, couple of hospital bills, right around 30.
30,000. Okay. And you've got an emergency fund in place. How much is in there?
About $1,200.
$1,200. So you've got that baby step one going, that starter emergency fund, and you have a reliable car, and you've got a place to stay, and you can afford the rent there?
Correct.
Okay. Well, you're honestly, I'm impressed. It sounds like you've been through a whole lot in the past, I don't know, a few months. How recent is all of this?
September.
Wow. Man, you are resilient.
Yeah, Michael, you've done an amazing job. Do you know that, right?
Well, it's my kids. I live for my kids. I work for my kids. I love my kids.
Yeah. Well, it's a good why in there because what you've been through is I mean, it's hard. It's really hard. And especially if you're the sole provider of that, I know the weight that feels and that responsibility that you feel. And I feel like the thing that sucks about money is that, your past decisions, they do follow you. You're having to face these things that you're like, man, I hate it. But you have not let it completely just overtake you or define you. I mean, you really have. I hear it in your voice of I'm gonna do something different because what I did, it didn't work. And so I'm willing to change and do the hard work dig myself out of this. And I just think that's like, it's just really impressive and really brave to make big changes like this in your life, Michael. So I want to encourage you in that. And that this debt, it is it all in collections? Because you were talking about creditors.
Correct. Yeah, it's
Okay.
all in collections.
Okay. Well, one positive note in some of that, maybe not as much the student loans, but the other stuff, there are chances that you can negotiate with them when it gets to this point. And once you get some money, let's just use like one of them for an example. How much would you say is on the car, for instance?
16.
16,000. Okay. So, working to get some cash, and sometimes they will settle with you, and to say, hey, it's been X amount of time and here's what I have. What's the best thing you can do? For me, what's the best deal, you can give me? I mean, there's always that strategy as well that is a possibility, not that it's all in collections, but if that doesn't work, then obviously kind of just chipping away at this, and it'll be a marathon. It's not going to happen overnight, like we say around here, but getting those quick wins of paying off that smallest one is going to be it's going to be exciting. What is your smallest debt, Michael?
About 1,000.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, you got 1,200 in the bank, so you can do it. You can work and save that. So that'll feel real good when you hit that first one out.
Yeah. So if you're following the baby steps, we talk about the 4 walls, and it sounds like you've got those covered. That's food, utilities, shelter, transportation. Once we have that covered, you can move on to that starter emergency fund, which you have. And then next up, we're going to list those debts from smallest to largest, depending on what's going on with the creditors. And like Rachel said, the older the debt has been in collections, the better chance you have of settling. And so if I'm you right now, I'm going to work my tail off. Maybe that means taking a second job, doing anything to increase income and cut down expenses to create that margin so that we can save up, $8,000 and go to that car loan and say, hey, I've got 8. Are you willing to take that today and be done with this? And a lot of the times they'll say, we'd rather have some of the money than none of it.
Yeah.
And they'll take that, and that can be knocked out. And the medical bills especially, a lot of those can be negotiated down, especially with hardship and income. So do your research and be proactive communicating with the creditors. Call them once a week and give them updates. I want you to bother them more than they bother you. They're going to want you off their back instead. And so you've done an incredible job. Obviously, I want this debt out of your life as soon as possible so that you can really start to create that new financial future for you and your kids. How old are the kids?
14 and 12.
Wow.
Awesome.
That's awesome. And are they in school? What's their situation?
School full-time.
Okay, awesome. That's good. That frees you up to be able to work. Are you back home every night with this trucking gig?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm local.
Okay. That's great news. Well, the good news is the trucking industry is in high demand, and so you might even look into what other jobs are out there. Can I increase this income? Is there overtime? I know that can be difficult in the trucking industry with regulation, but just doing whatever you can for the next, maybe it's 2 years to knock out this debt, especially if you can settle some of it. It could be shorter than that. And once you're through with that, you get that fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses, and then you can rest easy at night and start investing for your future. How old are you?
36.
36. Dude, you got your whole life ahead of you. You've got a whole new life to start, a new legacy to build with these kids. And, you know what to do, and I think you're going to do it. You're a resilient guy. Nothing's going to stop you at this point from where you were to where you are today and where you're going to be.
That's right.
That's
right. And my kids have a full life ahead of them, and I want theirs to be better than mine.
Yeah. And it will, Michael. I mean,
especially
honestly.
Financially.
Yep. I mean, you're literally doing the steps right now to what we say around here all the time is changing your family tree, and that's exactly what you've been doing. Do you feel more hopeful today than even 3 weeks ago? Like as you start really making progress and you save and you're feeling kind of the traction of this working, how does it feel now?
I mean, I was able to pay off a creditor last week, and it felt amazing.
Amazing.
It's discouraging when I can't do it every week, but it gives me hope.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. Well, you keep taking one day at a time. Keep busting your butt for this family. Clearly, that's your why. So let that why fuel you along this journey. and start to dream of what that future looks like and what it looks like to maybe be in a home one day or be doing the job you really want to do and the kids going to college, and just start to dream about that future, and that's going to keep you going every day. That's what you need right now is that daily motivation. Listen to this show for motivation. Get a community around you if you don't have any right now, some friends who can cheer you on along the way, some family. That's really going to help you get through this journey.
No, thank you.
Absolutely, Michael. Thank you so much for the call. We are cheering you on, my friend.
Yes, what a good dad.
I know. I'm just impressed by this guy.
And it sounds hard. Like the road he just explained, I'm like, that's hard.
Yeah.
And yet choosing to say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to figure this out, get another job, find an apartment. I mean, all of it. That's so courageous to me because there's a lot of, and I get it, but there's some it's just like, oh, I don't even know what to do. They're stuck and they can't move. It's almost like they're paralyzed by fear, but
he didn't stop moving.
No, really digging in and said, okay, I'm going to do something different and I'm going to change what I've been doing, which is uncomfortable in the first place, let alone his life situation. So I think it's amazing.
Call
Great
us
job,
up or
Michael.
come visit us to do your debt-free scream.
That's right.
From homeless to debt-free. That's a cool story. That's inspiring, man.
Absolutely.
Well, fun hour, Rachel. Thank you so much. Big thanks to James Childs, our producer, Kelly Daniels, our phone screener, and you, America. We appreciate you listening in. We'll be back with you before you know it. Until then, spend wisely, save intentionally, and give generously. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, it's Kelly, associate producer and phone screener for The Ramsey Show. If you would like to do your debt-free scream live on the show, make sure you visit theramseyshow.com and register. We would love for you to come to Nashville and tell Dave your story.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio, it's The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm Ramsey personality George Camel, joined this hour by Rachel Cruz, national #1 best-selling author, host of The Rachel Cruz Show. You name it, she's it. She's got it all, folks, and I'm excited to be co-hosting with her today, taking your questions about life and money. It's a free call, 888-825-5225. If you're a Gen Z or millennial, that's a phone number, and if you pick up your phone, there's a phone app. You can actually dial those numbers, and it connects you with a real person.
Don't throw the millennials under the bus. I'm a millennial.
I'm the same way.
Now, Gen Zers, we can throw them under the bus.
Here's the thing, Rachel. I'm the first one to not want to make a phone call. I'd much rather text.
Yes, I know.
But to make the show interesting, we have to hear you. And so I just want to encourage people out there who may not make a lot of phone calls to make it the day they do. So,
do you know, speaking of phone calls, can I tell you something I think we're going to do, George? This is so off topic. We just need to get to the calls. Speaking of phones, we're going back to a landline.
Really? At the Cruz household?
We're going to get a landline.
Tell me the reasoning behind this.
For our girls, they love talking on the phone, but they always take our phones. And I'm like, wouldn't it be great for them? And like, obviously, grandparents would just have their number, but that they could call, like my parents or Winston's parents.
It's a real, actual call.
And it's a phone, and they got, or how sweet would it be for someone to call the landline and the girls.
This feels
are
like we're living in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. I love this.
Isn't that great? Doesn't it just kind of take you back to so we bought on Amazon like actual phones.
Very impressive.
Anyways.
I thought Winston was like a doomsday prepper, and if the satellites go down,
I'm the conspiracy theorist.
You're here for that. That's the secret reason.
I can't wait till the phone rings at home and one of your girls answers, and it's like, would you like to re-extend your warranty for your whatever?
I know. Or your student loan is in deferment.
Yeah.
Like some spam.
I'm here for it, though. Let me know how that goes.
Hey, so Gen Zers, get a landline. Let's just go back to the good old days.
It's gonna be vintage soon and cool, just like the '90s clothing has been. So.
Did you ever have your own phone line?
100%.
Okay.
Instead of the party line.
Yeah.
Where you could pick up.
Yeah. Not the party line, but you had like your own. Like we had a kids line growing up.
Oh no, I wasn't that fancy.
And our should I do our recording? We're so off topic right now.
James is about to shut down.
Are you ready,
show.
James? Are you ready, me and Denise?
He's invested in this though.
Go for it.
Should we do this? I'm sorry, America. I can't.
This is a treat
me and
for
Denise.
America.
Okay, we did a rap.
Please do this.
This is Rachel and Denise's line. You know what to do. Leave a message. We'll get back to you.
Wow. There you go, folks. You didn't know you wanted to hear that, but you got it. And that is a Friday treat.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for that, Rachel. That was broadcast live on national radio.
Yep.
I want to remind you.
I know. I mean, did you have to sing Christmas songs on your recorder?
No one made me. Apparently, it's a different time in the Ramsey household. Wow.
All right, go to calls.
Some behind the scenes for you, folks.
This is terrible.
back to the phones that matter. Tommy's on the line in Phoenix, Arizona. Tommy, I apologize, and we're excited to talk to you. How you doing?
Hey, no worries. I'm doing well. Thank you for taking my call, guys.
Did you expect to hear a rap from Rachel Cruz right before you talked to us?
I didn't, but to add to the conversation, I'm actually a millennial, so...
Yeah, Tommy, don't you want a landline back in your life? Doesn't that just feel better?
I'd be down. I used to talk to the operators all the time when I was younger. My mom would be like, Tommy, give me the phone.
Tommy!
I love this guy. Well, how can we help today?
Star 69. I mean, all of it. It's great.
Yeah. So my wife and I are somewhat nearly married, 2.5 years in, and she's studying to actually become a doctor or a PA. So she's kind of in that waiting season right now. So I was just curious. We're on baby step 3B. And I was curious if I should just be throwing 100% of that right towards, that fund for her schooling, or if we should be investing through my company's retirement plan, 401k plan. A little background, we have about $75,000 in savings, 20 of that being our 6-month emergency fund. And so that leaves us with between $55,000 to $65,000 towards school right now.
Cool. How much is school going to cost?
Yeah, so school, depending upon if she wants to go the PA route or the doctorate route in-state, it will be about $60,000 for the 3 years for PA, or $160,000 for in-state doctorate program.
Okay, and that's $60 per year for 3 years?
No, sir. So it's
Total.
$20 to $35 per year.
It's awesome.
That's very reasonable.
So, yeah, it is. I think most of the time with doctors and PAs, they just think they're forced to take the loan route, so they put in all of their spendings like housing, food, expenses, and that's why they get so jacked up
Tommy.
there. But this is just in-state tuition.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Well, what's great about it, too, is she's going to have to – when will she have to make the decision for the $160,000 route? When will that happen?
Probably within the next couple of months. Right now, because of COVID and stuff, she hasn't been able to really get like any shadowing hours, and that's really pivotal for doctorate school, so for medical school. So right now, it's kind of looking like she might go the PA route because she has more experience. It's higher chance of her getting approved, essentially, or accepted. But yeah, that within the next couple of months, I'd say, Lord willing.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, on that route, obviously, you guys have the cash to, and you don't have to pay it all up front, obviously, right? You're going to be paying as she goes, which is great, which means you're going to be able to still continue to save because you have this money set aside basically for her tuition, and you'll still continue to be able to save. And then ideally, if she goes the other route, knowing that, okay, we're going to have to save on the side and work harder and be more focused to continue to still cash flow her if she chooses that $160,000 route. But the $65,000 paid for route sounds real good.
Nice. And here's the thing with PA, if she goes the PA route, she can always go the doctor route later, correct?
That's kind of, no, not really. You'd have to do everything over again.
All over? I did not understand
you'd have to go back to residence. You'd have to go back to, from what I understand, you'd have to go back to medical school and then do the 3-4 years of residency on top. So it's not really, they really try to differentiate the difference between PA and doctorate and keep them separate. So that way that there's the two distinct routes. And so I guess for respecting doctors and the work they put into it and things like that, I guess.
Sure. Yeah. Well, so I would say on the money side though, Tommy, I would continue to invest for retirement if she goes the $65,000 route, because you'll have it basically paid for. It's there, and you'll still have your emergency fund in place. So yeah, that. Now, if she goes the other route, then I would pause the investing and then just keep saving up cash and cash flow her through it. But for her, I would ask her too. I mean, that's $100,000 difference. I'm kind of just making these numbers seem like they're not that big of a difference. That's a big difference. And if the outcome is the same for her, if she's getting what she wants out of her career out of both and it's the same, I mean, obviously I would pick the PA route just to be able to cash flow it and
Yeah,
she can jump
definitely.
into it and all of it. But if it's something that she's passionate about, the other routes, then she can still do that. Y'all are just going to have to pause a lot and save a lot to make sure you're cash flowing it.
Yeah, and the upside of the income from the doctor versus PA, look into that and find out what the difference is. We want to make sure there's going to be a good ROI on this regardless. But cash flow it, avoid student loan debt. You guys are doing so great. You're following the steps. Super proud of you guys. Rockstar millennials. Look at that, Rachel. They're out there. You can find them. This is The Ramsey Show.
Still on baby step number 1, eh?
How'd you guess?
With healthcare costs rising, learn how Christian Healthcare Ministries can help you make the most out of your budget. Visit chministries.org/budget.
Don't worry, it's worth it.
I'm George Camel. My co-host today is Rachel Cruz. This is The Ramsey Show. If you aren't strapped with student loan payments, odds are you know someone who is. Millions of people are putting their lives on hold. They can't buy a house or have kids because they're stuck. Or even worse, they're waiting and waiting and waiting for the government to save them with student loan forgiveness. What a joke. Our team produced a brand new documentary called Borrowed Future, and it is out now. It uncovers the dark side of the student loan industry and exposes how the system is built to work against you. You'll see Dave Ramsey weigh in on the epic failure, otherwise known as the student loan program, along with featured interviews from industry insiders and thought leaders like Seth Godin, Seth Frotman, and Dr. John Deloney. We're coming at this hard, folks. We're taking big swings at the student loan problem with the goal to arm parents and students across the country with the truth. Here's the truth. You do not have to take out loans to get a college education. You can graduate debt-free and avoid the predatory student loan industry. Borrowed Future is available to watch now. You can find it on Apple TV, Amazon Prime Video, Google Play, or just go to borrowedfuture.com. Rachel, I love that call we took before the break about student loans. And his wife's going to go to med school debt-free.
I know. Isn't that great?
You don't hear that very often.
Nope.
And it's because they had a plan, and they had a wise choice when it came to what college. She's going in-state, and that whole program, $60,000 for PA.
Yes, and she's doing it, and he's exactly right that, you know, when you just even entertain the idea of debt, and you think, okay, well, I mean, we have to have debt, and you go down that mindset, that trail, then you're not nickel and diming everything. You're adding stuff here and there, and here. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you don't feel the urgency to get it as low as possible. And that's on anything, even a car, right? If you think, I'm going to have to get a car loan, you're like, oh, yeah, I'll do that upgrade here.
What's 40 versus 50 at that point?
Yeah, you don't feel it. But when you pay cash, that's one of the beauties about it is that you end up spending less. But also it's because you're working so hard to get the price down because you're like, no, this is my hard-earned money, and you feel it.
And I wonder if there's data on this, but people who pay cash for school, I wonder if they're more invested, if they're studying harder, if they're trying to ace the test, because you paid good money for that.
Or the graduation rate's higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder. I would guess that it's higher.
Oh, I'm sure there's
paid cash.
Yeah, and I bet there's stats out there for sure.
But I'm proud of them. I'm proud of people going, you know what, student loans aren't the only path, and we're going to forge our own path over here, and we're going to do it with cash, and they're going to do it.
And here's what's like when I'm sitting in this seat, especially, and I'm talking to people, I'm like, man, it can be frustrating because we know it's possible. We know it's possible. Choosing a school you can afford, even going to a community college, scholarships and grants, like all of this formula. Is it easy? No, it's not easy, but it is possible. And then when we, talk to people that do have debt, their largest amount of debt always is the student loan. And it's like, oh man, I did a Instagram post of some shoes that I bought that it was like my buyer's remorse is what I say, like one of my spending regrets in life. And so I asked people, what's your biggest spending regret? And so many, it was student loans, because it's like years later, it's a degree they're not using, or they could have gone to a different school and gotten it half, the price of what they pay. Anyways, I just thought that was fascinating. I wasn't thinking when I thought spending regrets.
When you think about
at the post,
purchase, you don't think about student loans.
Yeah. I was expecting like a thing. And so, but hearing so many student loan answers in there of the regret, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, it is. It's a hard one. So the documentary Bard feature, it's amazing.
Yeah, go watch it if you haven't. It's 88 minutes. It's a great weekend watch. And if you've got kids, oh my goodness, it's a great thing to watch with them because it sparks conversations. What I found after talking with so many teens is that parents aren't having the conversations. And so they're wandering into college when they're 17, 18 going, my parents never really talked about it, and they just said, we'll figure it out. Next thing you know, they co-signed loans or took out the Parent Plus loans or let the students go off and take out $200,000 on their own. And it all comes down to communication, expectations, where are we at financially, how much can we contribute? And a lot of it stems from shame from the parents, too.
Yeah, sure.
We can't pay for college, so we don't even want to talk about it.
Right. But that's what I even love about this message of getting under, like, the underbelly of this whole industry, because like you're saying, these are 18-year-olds making decisions. So there's a part of me that, I mean, in at Ramsey, I'm like, we want to fight for those 18-year-olds. It's not fair for them to walk in to an office and they have no clue what they're doing because no adult has talked them through it, and someone says sign and they sign because they don't really know. I mean, they're 18 years old. Like, isn't it that your frontal like your brain, the frontal lobe,
prefrontal cortex
isn't even fully developed till you're like 25 or something? And I'm like, they're making these decisions that follow them for the rest of their lives. So parents, I mean, George, I think that's great. I think it's a great encouragement for parents to dig in and have the conversation.
Yes.
And talk about it.
Go check it out, borrowedfuture.com. Open phones this hour, 888-825-5225. Alexandra joins us from Chicago, Illinois. Alexandra, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, George. Hi, Richard. How are you guys?
Doing great. How can we help?
I'm 32 years old. I'm in baby step number 2. For the first time in my life, I feel like I have, some control. 2020 really kicked me into gear to start paying my debt. I started with 124. Now I'm at 81,000.
Way to go!
Congratulations.
Thank you. I went from making less than 20,000 a year to now making over 50.
Great.
But I'm having a little bit of guilt. Not a little bit, quite a bit actually. Like this morning I was crying about it. I'm having guilt with giving. I have 2 brothers who live in Mexico, and they are way under the poverty line. And I feel that now I'm at a place where I can actually help them. But every time that I'm doing my budget and all the extra money that is going towards my debt, I feel like I should be helping them with it. That's just
deal with. Well, Alexandra, I mean, you have a beautiful heart. I mean, I can just hear over the phone your longing and compassion for brothers that you love, and knowing that how their living conditions and living below the poverty line, it hurts you, right? I can feel that. I have 2 thoughts around it, and then George, obviously, I want to hear yours. But my first is that we always encourage giving, no matter even on baby step 2. We want you to be giving, and really 10% is like our recommended percentage, because the element of giving, we want that even from the beginning, because it makes it that much easier to continue to give as you start to build wealth. So that giving portion, you can choose where to give that. And so, for people that are part of a local church, for instance, we say, hey, that can be your tithe. You can give that to your local church. Or if someone is not have a spiritual walk, it could be to a nonprofit or something. So Alexandra, I mean, you could say, hey, this 10% I'm going to give to my brothers to help them right now in this season. I would not be mad at that. It's not like you're enabling some bad behavior, right? I mean, they're just in a totally different situation in Mexico. And so you could choose to do that and then still focus on your debt snowball, because my other point that I want you to hear is, once you pay this off, even though it's going to be a little bit of a journey for you, still you've knocked out for what, 40,000, 43,000 already, which is amazing. Yeah. And so you're going to be able to be debt free sooner than you can even imagine. And when you don't have those payments and you have that emergency fund, you're going to be able to do so much more giving, which is even more exciting. And it's easier to give because you have the margin when you don't have the debt. So I do want you to still be intense with it because ultimately it gives you, not just you freedom, but it gives you the ability to help others in that sense when you don't have the payments. So if you want to be giving a little bit to them right now while you're out of debt of that giving portion of your budget, I don't see anything wrong with that because you are helping someone in need.
That's beautifully said. And the one thing I would add is you probably can't give them enough money to get them out of the situation.
That's a great
And so I don't want you to feel like you have the burden to fix their life. But what you can do is support them in figuring out what it looks like to get them back on their feet. And that may not be monetary. That might be finding them an opportunity from where you sit in Chicago and going, hey, let's find you a job where you're able to afford your bills and get out of this poverty situation. And that may not mean the $50 to $100 that you might be sending them every month. But you've got a beautiful heart, and we're cheering you on your debt-free journey and definitely hopeful that your brothers can get out of this situation. Thank you so much for that call. Sweet stuff. Rachel, good stuff there.
Love it.
This is The Ramsey Show. You're listening to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, Ramsey personality and host of the Fine Print and Entree Leadership Podcast. Joined today by Rachel Cruz, host of The Rachel Cruz Show. Rachel, in the first hour, we took a call from a gentleman wondering if he should buy a car, how much car he should be buying, with some other goals he had going on. And you decided to do a little poll on your Instagram. What was going on with that poll?
Well, we were talking about how cars have become the status symbol, right? That's what Dave always says in the opening of the show. And how a car really is supposed to just get you from point A to point B, but yet it's become this luxury item in our world that people love. So I just asked the question. I asked people to be honest. I don't know if they were very honest, George.
That's a good start.
Yeah.
At least asking for honesty.
I did. So I asked, why do you want a nice car? Because of what other people think, or you just like nice stuff? And the winner, which I guess I'm not shocked is, I know I gotta get these up. Perfect. Okay. Was 93% like nice stuff.
Okay.
7% say because of what people think.
Wow. I appreciate that. The 7%'s honesty saying, I'm just doing it for other people.
I just think it's more, right?
It's got to be. I think it's
a numbers.
If there was a third option.
66 people said because of what other people think. 836 said.
Wow.
Because they like nice stuff. Again, that was just in the last hour.
If there was an option C, do you think most people would select that of
What's
a little
the
bit of
option
both?
C?
A little bit of both. I like nice stuff.
I mean, that would be, yeah.
I don't want to be ridiculed by my friends.
I think about my Tesla. 80% is for me because I just genuinely want a Tesla.
80% I like nice stuff, 20%.
And then I'm sure there's a 20% that's like, oh yeah, Tesla people are probably like, oh, that's a cool Tesla if you get a Tesla, you know?
If you rolled up to Ramsey Solutions in that Tesla, I'd be like, Rachel, this is a dope car. Like I would be very impressed. I'd want to ride.
Right. And am I lying to say that I'm like,
that feels good.
Right. But that being your leading motivator in life when it comes to money is terrible. So that's like where it gets super unhealthy.
It'll set you up for failure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always ask the question, if nobody sees the purchase, do you still want it?
Ooh.
And I've done that with my Tesla Dreaming. And yeah, I do. Like I get like literally if no one ever saw it, I want to sit and drive an electric car so bad.
Yeah. It's fun.
What's your dream car? That if nobody even if nobody saw it, like that you just genuinely were like, ooh, that would be fun.
I'm going Tesla too because I'm a giant nerd and I like the tech.
George.
I just like the technology.
Gosh.
I don't need the revving engine like Dave does. Dave's like, if I don't hear
hear
it,
it's not oil. There's no oil in that
not a real
engine.
car.
That's not a car. That's a computer.
Listen, if I never had to do an oil change again, Praise Jesus.
God, we just spent man, why are we getting off on this?
Who needs it?
We had car repairs this month.
Ooh.
This month. And the oil pan, which I didn't even know that's a thing, had to be replaced. And that's like what is supposed to be replaced in cars that have like 200,000 miles. Now mine's up in like 90,000.
Yeah.
But yeah, you gotta it was terrible.
There's so many parts.
And then they had to fly it in from another country, and then it gets stuck on some ship
in port.
That can't come to port and all of it. Anyways, the car was in the shop forever, and I was just angry. I was like, I hate car stuff.
One more reason to get the Tesla. All
Amen,
right, I'm
brother.
with you.
Amen.
Well, hey, open phones this hour, 888-825-5225. We'll talk about what you want to talk about, and if that's cars, that's great. But we've got Esmeralda on the line in Stockton, California, and we'll see what her question is. Esmeralda, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, guys. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. Speak directly into your phone. It sounds a little noisy.
So I just had a quick question. I am about to switch, not careers, but jobs. I'm currently work as a correctional nurse, and I make about $120,000 a year. And I'm going to go be a school nurse to have my kids' school schedule, and my salary is going to drop down to about $80,000 a year. And my husband makes about $120,000 as well. And we just sold our car, so we just got rid of $33,000. And we have about $35,000 in credit card debt and about $180,000 in our mortgage. So I just wanted to know, I'm just having a hard time with the whole salary reduction, and how much is enough for a family?
That's a great question. And you guys are in California, and so I know this looks different for people in high cost of living areas, but you don't get a pass on the math. And the truth is, it really doesn't matter. I mean, there's people who make $40,000 who live very comfortably. There's people who live in $1 million houses who feel like they don't have enough. And so what's going to make you feel like you have enough is when you have margin. And right now you've got a pile of debt here in $35,000 of credit card debt that's making you feel like you don't have enough. And so can you live on $200,000 income, which is what you'll go to in California, comfortably? Yeah, you can, but not when you have a pile of debt breathing down your neck.
Esmeralda, what's the $35,000? I mean, I know it's credit card debt, but like, what are you guys charging on it?
Oh, it was just, we did furniture and just like odds and ends that have piled up over the years.
Yeah.
So over the years, you've been paying on this debt for a long time?
Probably about 2 years. Just kind of, the last year and a half, we've just kind of been living life and buying stuff, going on vacation, and now that I'm able to, I finished my BSN, so I was able to apply for a school nurse position, and now that I'm actually going to take it, I'm like, whoa, well, I know I was going to take a pay cut, but now I'm like, oh, is this the right move right now for us?
Yeah, well, here's the deal. You're still going to be making around $200. If you're making $80, he's making $120. You guys are still making an incredible income. And so y'all's issue is going to have to be, hey, I'm going to have to set some boundaries and actually get serious about this, because you guys have kind of just been floating around, having fun, going on vacation, buying stuff, and just not really thinking, because you've had the money to cover your mistakes. And suddenly, when you don't have the money to cover your mistakes anymore and you're down $40,000 a year, yeah, you're gonna feel it, exactly why you're calling, right? You're feeling that intensity, and Esmeralda, that's the intensity that you're going to have to clean this up. I mean, people, they do it all the time, and if I were you guys, I mean, your life is going to look drastically different for the next 9 months of your life. Like, I would buckle down and do nothing. I would sell some stuff you guys bought on those credit cards that you're not using anymore. I would not go out to eat. I would not go on vacation. I would do nothing, and I would get rid of this, because if you can take this intensity and actually get serious about it, this $35,000 will go away. You guys have the income to be able to do it. You're going to be able to really knock this out, even if you go and take the nursing job, which I'm not mad if you do that. I think that if that's what you're wanting to do, that's great, because you guys still are going to have a great income to pay this off. But you got to get serious about it, and you guys have not been serious about this. And man, when you pay this off, like George said, it's going to put you in a different spot. It is going to bring the freedom that you're wanting right now to be able to switch jobs and not feel the stress.
Okay, yeah, we sold our car on Monday, which that took off $33,000, and we have 2 other cars that are paid for, so we're good with that. And my husband's like, I'm so proud of you. You actually gave up a nice luxury car to drive your paid-off car. I was like, well, I want to do this. I want to be able to be home and spend more time with the kids. And, you know, my salary eventually will go up to $100,000 in about 3 years. Each year I'll get a pay raise, and, of course, he will as well. So I guess it's just a drop down right now that I'm like, oh, we're going to get adjusted a little bit. And
well, here's the thing, Esmeralda. You called asking how much money do you need to live comfortably, and right now I don't want you to be comfortable. I want you to be uncomfortable for a short season so that you can live your best life later on completely debt-free. Because clearly this comfortable living, doing whatever you guys wanted to do, it's not a great life because you're sitting here with a little bit of anxiety about is money enough, and what about these bills that we're paying, and maybe some buyer's remorse, some regret, some shame, and I don't want any of that in your life. And you guys have a fantastic income, like Rachel said. Buckle down, get rid of this thing in 6 months, and clean up, get an emergency fund in place. Do you guys have any savings right now?
We do. We have about like 20,000 or so.
Okay. Well, if you're following the baby steps,
throw it at the debt.
You've got 1,000 starter, and 19 is going to get thrown on that 35 of credit card debt. And all of a sudden, you're going to go, oh my gosh, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
I would write a big check tonight, Esmeralda. I really would, because y'all need a shock. You need, like George said, you kind of just been floating around. Like you need something to kind of shock the system. And man, when you do that and you said, okay, we're gonna just throw this, get rid of all this other debt, pay down the credit card, it's gonna make you get into gear to pay off the rest because you're gonna want that emergency fund back because you want to get comfortable again, which I don't blame you. But you need a little shock to the system.
Yeah, I'm here for it. You guys got this.
You guys got it, Esmeralda. You can do this.
I'm not worried about it, but you're going to have to get some self-discipline in place and get uncomfortable so that you can be comfortable later on. That's true financial peace. This is The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, joined today by Rachel Cruz. You are listening to The Ramsey Show. Give us a call, 888-825-5225. We'll talk about your life and your money. Pat joins us in Sioux Falls. Pat, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hello. Yeah, hey, I just started a little business in LLC, and I went to the bank to get an business account going, and they recommended a credit card. And then
I bet they did.
Yeah, they did. And, back in my mind, I knew what Dave would say, but I'm calling to see if I was right about what Dave would say. No credit cards. It doesn't matter if it's business or personal or nothing.
That sounds about right to me. Did you end up doing it?
I did, but...
Oh, boy.
But I can cancel it, so I haven't even got it in the mail yet. Like I said, I was wavering, and I called my wife, and she said, yeah, I get it, and I still went back and forth, and then I said, well, I tried to call you guys like yesterday too, but
hey, don't put this on us, Pat. All right. I got
Pat,
voicemail.
we didn't sign up for the credit card, Pat.
I got voicemail, so I decided to go into debt. Well, Pat, tell me this: what was your reasoning in going? You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and do the.
They probably gave you some good excuses.
Well, I'll tell you what it was. It was my wife thought the 1.5 would be cash back would be.
Cash back.
You talk to successful business owners, and they're like, man, the 1.5 is what did it.
It's not even going to be a multiple, a bunch of this. It's just a little small business. And
I know.
It happens so fast. You're filling out all these forms for this LLC and everything else. And then, then this and that. And so,
they rope you
in.
I
can get rid of it. I just wanted to check with Dave before I did anything.
Whenever it comes to these decisions, Pat, I like to go, who benefits from this decision? And in this case, the bank benefits from this decision. That's why they're pushing the credit card, is because they're not going to make a whole bunch of money from you taking out a business debit card. They're hoping you rack up some debt on this thing and pay a whole bunch of interest over the course of your life running this business.
Sounds like a winner. I appreciate you guys taking my call.
Absolutely. Thanks, Pat. Thanks for calling.
Cut it up as soon as that card comes in. Cut it up and maybe go to a different bank. Just to stick it to them and get a business debit card. That is what
Dave carries. A new bank will do the same thing, George.
Well, go to a credit union. I just don't want to do business with a bank that sold me a credit card. That's all I'm saying.
That's what they all do, though, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, they're banks. This is
No,
this
they're
is what they
banks.
do. They're out to make money.
That's it. That's what they're doing.
But this is what we do here at Ramsey, right?
Yes.
So we're a big company, millions upon millions of dollars, and we only use debit cards.
Sure.
Believe it or not.
Yep. Even the real estate here is paid
All
for.
cash.
We move at the speed of cash, is what we say around here.
Yeah.
And what it does, though, I mean, from on a business perspective, is it makes you make different business decisions when you are using cash. When you're using debt, there's a level of, we try to test it, and if it doesn't, I mean, I don't know. You're not as emotionally kind of freaked out. But when it's your cash, you're like, I'm going to make sure this thing that we're investing in is going to give me some ROI. You have a deeper emotional investment when it's your own money. And then on the flip side, on the consumer side with the points, I mean, this is something we hear all the time, George, that people have credit cards, whether it's a just in case thing, or I do it for the airline miles and the points. And what one thing I want people to realize is that, because people do pay off their credit cards every month, right? There are people out there, they're paying off and they're quote unquote benefiting, and they are getting the cash back, all of that. But you have to understand, you're getting all of these points because majority of people, the average American's carrying $16,000 credit card balance. So people, because they are mismanaging their money and the banks are making tons of money off that, you now, quote unquote, get to reap the benefits of a system that's screwing people, and they're putting people in bad positions. So I'm like, I don't even want to play the game. I don't even want the points because you're not doing
points.
it.
Dirty money.
A little bit is what it feels like. Because I'm like, because there's some, single mom out there who's trying to make her bills, and she's using the credit card to help her in that because it's the only thing she knows. And I get a free $70 Southwest flight. I'm like, no, I will pay for my own Southwest flight. Thank you.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. It drives me nuts.
Now, there's a moral argument to be made that we really don't talk a bunch here at Ramsey Solutions. We stick to the financial part. But there is a part where it's a corrupt industry and it's hurting people. And you have to decide, do I want to be a part of an industry that does this to people?
I don't want to play the games.
And 1.5% is not going to change your life. It's a few $100 back. And I tell people, give yourself some cash back. That's what you can do when you live a debt-free life and you have the margin in your budget. And if I want to go on vacation, I don't have to hope that I have the points at the end of the year. We just budget for it and go on vacation.
That's right.
That's
that
simple.
Yes.
So we've got an episode all about this on my podcast, The Fine Print, and it's called The True Cost of Credit Card Rewards. So if this is you and you're out there and you're going, well, what if I pay it off every month? And what if, and what if, and what if? And you're wrong. Just go listen to the episode. We talked to an ex-Capital One employee, Elena, who really dished. She spilled the tea, all right, on the credit card industry. 10,000 social experiments they run. You're just a mouse in their maze.
Wow.
And when you get to the cheese, you think, but I'm winning. I got cheese. And then you zoom out and you go, no, you're just a mouse in a lab being socially experimented on.
Wow.
So go check out that episode. You can go to fineprintpodcast.com or just search for The Fine Print wherever you listen to podcasts. All right, let's take a call here. We've got Lauren in Las Vegas, Nevada. Lauren, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
This is amazing. Hi,
it is
guys.
amazing.
Lauren,
Thank you
you're
for your
amazing.
excitement. How can we help?
Nobody's ever that excited to talk to me and George.
She might think this is
so
Dave.
Excited for both of you.
Yeah,
Yes.
Dave is not here, Lauren.
I'll get him next time. Thank you, Kelly, for putting me through. Real quick, my husband and I were on baby step 6. Yay for the program.
Congrats.
Because of you guys. Thank you. We just moved into our home here in Vegas, and we did it the Ramsey way. We're just trying to decide how much to save for home improvements versus paying down our mortgage. After everything, we have about a surplus. I mean, on average, from $2,000 to $5,000 that, I either put towards paying off the mortgage, but then I thought maybe I should pause doing that and save for improvements. I don't know.
Well, I don't think it's an either or here. I mean, how urgent are these improvements? Are these nice to haves, or is like the roof going to collapse?
No, these are definitely nice to have. We plan to be in this house for, as much as you can plan, right? 10 years, at least. We're in a neighborhood. We picked this neighborhood for our kids. We want to grow up and, have our kids grow up with friends in the neighborhood. So that's where we're at.
That's awesome. How much is left on the mortgage?
A good number.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can't shock us. Just throw it out there.
Okay. $1 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're still here.
And you said you did it the Ramsey way, which makes me think you guys can afford this.
You put 20% down, or 10 to 20% down, and the mortgage payment is no more than...
Yep. It just sounds funny to say out loud.
No, absolutely.
No, it's fine.
What's your household income? I'm curious.
Yeah, it's the 350 base, and then add-ons. Yeah,
it's great. It's awesome. You guys are doing great.
Way to go.
So, thank you. Yeah, my husband works very hard, and we're a good team. So,
well, don't be ashamed.
It's
you guys
awesome.
are
Awesome.
crushing it.
Yeah. So I think, so Lauren, with the money you guys are putting extra, you said you have $2,000 to $5,000, I guess, a month. Is that what you're saying? Extra.
Yeah, like on average.
Yeah.
The reason I say that is because some it's not. We don't have overage, and then other months we have like 5K. It's just the timing of things.
Totally.
So,
well, at this point, here's what I would do. And George, you obviously, I want to hear your thoughts. But you guys look at, so the mortgage, you got about $1 million left, and I would do a 10-year plan that you're going to be in this house for 10 years, and say, okay, when do we want this mortgage paid off? Like, when would it feel great? And do some math to see, okay, what's realistic? Because again, you're on baby step 6. So we say this is the time you get to kind of take your foot off the gas, enjoy life a little, do some house improvements. You can do some of this, but I would still have a time frame, a goal just for you and your husband to know, hey, we would love to have our house paid off in X amount of time. And that could be in 5 years, that could be in 7 years, but kind of aggressive because we really want you to have that house paid off. But that feels good, but for you to still have margin in your budget to live life, because I still want you to say, hey, okay, so that's our goal, is to get it paid off here. So then how much extra do we have per month to play with? How many vacations do we want to take a year? Do we do one improvement on the house, maybe one every year, and we cash flow it? So you can still live your life, Lauren. So it is going to be, it's not an either or, it is a both. But it's a decision you and your husband are going to have to make.
We just don't want to be wasteful, because I've got to tell you, I was what your dad called a princess before.
No, you're not being wasteful at all.
No, you're doing great, Lauren.
Just allocate to both and start saving up in a sinking fund, and maybe you start paying off the house once those improvements are done. Hardcore. Way to go.
Great job, though, Lauren. You're doing great.
That puts this hour in the books. This is the Ramsey Show.
Or family member that needs a daily dose of Ramsey advice in their life? Let them know about the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast. It's a quick hit of advice about life and money in under 10 minutes. Check out the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio, it's The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm George Camel, host of the Fine Print and Entree Leadership podcast, joined today by Rachel Cruz, host of The Rachel Cruz Show and best-selling author, and we are excited to take your calls this hour about life and money. So give us a call, 888-825-5225. Michaela kicks us off in Kansas City, Missouri. Michaela, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
We're glad to take it. How can we help?
So I'm a small business owner, married. We have 2 younger kiddos, and with everything that's going on in Washington, they officially passed the, whatever you want to call it, the Build Back, whatever, bill today, and knowing the implications that is going to have on me as a small business owner, especially in my industry, I'm just kind of curious. We are so close, I guess you could say, to paying off our home, and knowing that this bill fundamentally and fiscally changes the system of finances in America, I'm told my finite mind comprehends that it changes the stock market as we know it. There's potential for it to crash and not come back, and this is not like whatever conspiracy or whatever. This is just all the information that people throw at you, right? And so I'm I'm kind of wondering, should we pull out what we have in the stock market to just finish paying off our home, not knowing whether or not, the KGB is going to come, the IRS is going to come and, then audit and close down all small businesses or...
Michaela, let's do a quick exercise together. We're going to take a deep breath. We're going to do 3 in and 3 out.
Hold for 3 seconds in.
Yeah, right.
And then out for 3.
There we go.
Okay, it's not past the Senate. We got our news source. It is not past the Senate. Okay.
Okay.
Did you hear that? Okay. Okay. So it is not passed yet. I am a bill on Capitol Hill. Did you know that?
Listen, Rachel's all about some singing today, so you might get some of that, Michaela.
I might be rapping about how laws are in place.
Jesus could come tomorrow, but I'm still going to pay my bills up until that moment. And so I understand that you have valid fears, especially as a small business owner.
Which is fair, P.S.
Yeah, I don't want to invalidate that.
I get it, yes.
But on the side of the market's going to crash and I do need to upheave my life, I don't think we're going to be able to time it if it happens. So if I'm you, I'm going to keep living my life here. Now, I do want to know about your investments. When you say pull out money out of the stock market, what do you have invested currently?
Well, I feel like have a little bit of everything kind of everywhere. So we've got, and I think if I understand right, it's like 60-40 in conservative like stocks and bonds versus like more aggressive.
Are you invested in mutual funds or single stocks?
Some of both. We do have an IRA, Roth IRAs. I am, obviously self-employed. My husband does not have a, he just started his new job, and so we don't have like a 401k there. I have a small business emergency fund that's separate, just in like in an Ally account, and then we've got our other emergency 3 to 6 months for our personal home. So it's just kind of everywhere.
How much do you have? So let's separate retirement from non-retirement. So we're not going to touch retirement. Let's just take that off the table. We're not going to pull any money out of our retirement accounts. How much money do you have outside of that in just a general brokerage account?
All of them together, probably about 40 or so. And then because I am a sole proprietor LLC, technically everything in my small business account is mine. I could pull it out. I have about 90 in there.
And how much do you have left on the mortgage?
About 80.
Okay.
The home's worth about, we could sell it right now. Our neighborhood's pretty hot. We could sell it for about $340 probably right now.
Okay, so we've got 80 left on the mortgage. You have 40,000 just sitting out there in general mutual funds and stocks that are non-retirement, correct?
Right.
Okay, so that portion, I would say, yes, let's pull that out. Not out of fear, but just because the best use of that money right now is paying off this mortgage versus being in the stock market, especially the ones that are in single stocks that are super volatile and risky.
Okay.
So that cuts you down to 40. Now, the business money, do you need that money for anything? Is it reserves for your business? What are you doing with that?
Well, full disclosure, so some of it comes from I'm an Enneagram 1, so like perfection is the only option, right? And
your way's the right way. Enneagram 1s.
Also that. Thank you for the acknowledgement.
You've encountered Enneagram expert Rachel Cruz.
I know you. Yes, I see you, Michaela. I see you.
Part of it, so I was in business with a family member. There was some trauma there. The family member that I was in business with decided, after me finally standing up for myself and saying no more, didn't understand why she wouldn't be paid for not working, decided that she would just take all of our money out of the account, close the account. I had no idea. And then it took like 3 years to sort of rebuild because I knew I wasn't going anywhere. I loved what I did. I knew that's where I was supposed to be. So a lot of, I guess, trauma there. And so this sounds horrible, but like I hoarded there, I think, because
out of the fear.
I'm like, but what if that happens? Yes, 100%.
Yeah. I get it. It's not right. I don't think, but I get how you got there.
have my emergency fund for my business, but I don't know. I mean, I'm self-employed. You never know, especially with taxes being raised. Like, you never know, really, in an industry like I'm in. You never really know exactly how much you're going to owe in taxes because your profit fluctuates so much. Like 2020, we operated at 11% that we operated at in 2019 because I'm in the wedding industry. So,
do you have a tax professional that you work with right now?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, work with them and get facts on paper because, as John Deloney says, facts are your friends. And let's not live in just fear and paranoia. And I understand that you have legitimate fears. But what I want you to do is just turn off the news, slow down your life, and do the next right thing that you need to do every day. Go work in your business and don't live by the headlines because, truthfully, they're overblown and it's never as crazy as they say it is on both sides. This is not a political discussion.
I do love conspiracies.
But Rachel does.
Michaela, so I can jump on the train and go there.
That's Ramsey After Dark. It's where Rachel shares her conspiracy theories. But, Michaela, I really appreciate the call and way to go in your business. And just take a deep breath.
Pull that money out.
You're doing so great.
Put it toward the mortgage, like you said, and start working, chip that mortgage away. Yep, and you're doing great.
You'll have some awesome financial peace. You'll sleep a lot easier with no mortgage. But no more paranoia, no more fear, no more headlines. Just take a break for safety's sake. This is The Ramsey Show.
Stop paying your overpriced wireless provider and switch to Pure Talk. They use the same network as the larger providers for much less. For just $30 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data with no contract. The average family saves over $70 a month by switching to Pure Talk. Just go to puretalk.com and enter the promo code Ramsey to save 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, simply smarter wireless.
This is a big week here at Ramsey. You know, most people know Dave Ramsey as the rich guy on the radio. And that he is. He made his first million in his 20s, and he did it the wrong way and went bankrupt. Many of you know that story. And that's when he set out to learn God's ways of managing money and created the Ramsey Baby Steps. And by following these steps, Dave became a millionaire again. And this time, he did it the right way with zero debt. And he spent the next 3 decades guiding millions through the same plan he followed. And today, the evidence is undeniable. If you follow the baby steps, you will become a millionaire and get to live and give like no one else. And he covers all of this in his new book called Baby Steps Millionaires that's available for pre-order now. You'll learn how ordinary people build extraordinary wealth and how you can do it too. It's not out of reach. He walks you through how to invest, build wealth, and bust through the barriers preventing you from becoming a millionaire. So for those who are ready, it's game on. You can baby step your way to becoming a millionaire. You can pre-order your copy today at RamseySolutions.com, and we sweeten the deal. We've got over $100 worth of bonus items when you pre-order, including the Baby Steps Millionaires audiobook and ebook, and Dave actually reads the audiobook himself, that's going to be a good time. You also get the Legacy Journey audiobook and ebook, and the Baby Steps Millionaires live stream, along with Ramsey Smart Tax. You can file for free using that, including a Ramsey Plus 30-day free trial. There's so much in there, Rachel. I'm super pumped for this book, and the cover is just beautiful.
I must say the same thing.
Such a beautiful. It's Dave on the farm at sunrise.
I know. He's out in the field.
Very exciting.
Out in the wild.
Yes.
With a no-teeth smile.
And this is big
Something
too,
you don't
Rachel.
get very often.
Yeah, the no-teeth smile, the smirk. And this is Dave's first book in a long time.
I know. Isn't that awesome?
A long time. And so I'm pumped for it. There's some awesome stories in here. You're going to learn how Dave personally invests his money. And I'm baby stepping my way to be a millionaire. I'm excited to pay off my house maybe by the end of the year.
Y'all are close, you and Whitney.
Fingers crossed by the end of the year, Rachel. We're paying off the house.
By the end of the year, like in a month?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, George.
I know.
Are you going to do a debt-free scream?
I want to. Do you think it'd be weird?
No.
Okay,
I'm
that's
here
a new
for it.
poll. Should George do a debt-free scream?
I'm here for it, maybe with confetti.
We also don't really have a say. It's going to be Kelly. So we have to decide if Kelly wants me to do a debt-free scream.
Kelly decides debt-free screams. Can George do a debt-free scream when he pays off his house at the end of the year? Yes.
Kelly said yes, America. It's going to happen.
That's a big deal. And I'm so proud of you and Whitney. The way you guys went about that whole thing, because I remember you guys building.
Yeah.
Because it was a newer build.
Yep.
And you were able to pick out the finishes, and you guys were being so smart about the upgrade. I mean, all of it. And you did it so well.
Thank you.
I'm excited.
That means a lot.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So fun.
It's been just over 2 years. And
Wow.
so it can be done. I'm not that special. I'm not like a financial genius. We just followed the baby steps, and we created margin by paying off our debt. And we've been investing diligently. And those of you who know my story, my wife works here at Ramsey Solutions. So not a huge leap to get her on board. She's all in on this stuff. And so we're super excited. And I just want everyone to know that the stuff in this book is not theory. It's real stories, real everyday people, not, athletes and celebrities. They're everyday people. They're teachers. They're engineers who just diligently saved and followed the steps and did it. So I'm super pumped for this book. Make sure you go grab your copy at RamseySolutions.com. Open phones this hour. 888-825-5225 is the number to call. Jesse joins us in Springfield. Jesse, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. How can we help?
Well, my wife and I are on baby step number 2. Just getting the ball rolling right now. However, we got a call. My uncle passed away, and my sister and I are his heirs.
Wow. I'm sorry to hear about your loss.
Oh, thank you, guys. I appreciate it. It was pretty sudden, but he's in a better place than we are, I guess.
Yeah.
So we know that it's going to be a substantial amount of money. It should be somewhere between 100 and 150 for my sister and for myself. But we know it was not in the will, but we do know his wishes is that he wanted to take care of my kids and my sister's kids' colleges. Mm-hmm. My wife and I are on the fence of whether or not we use this money to get out of all of our consumer debt, everything but the home, and fund the college ourselves, or whether or not we just leave this money invested and to use it for their college.
How many kids do you have, and what are the ages?
I have 2 that are 6 and 3.
Okay, so we've got a long ways away for college. And how much debt do you have?
Yes.
Consumer debt, other than the mortgage?
Consumer debt, if you count school loans, it's about 120.
Okay. And when you said 100 to 150, is that each? So you're saying 200 to 300 total?
Correct.
Okay. So if we're saying 200 to 300 total here, and you have 120 in debt, that means you can clean up the debt.
Wait, no, he's going to get 150. The sister will get 150.
Oh, the sister.
Yes. Oh. I think it's split in half. Yep. So 100 to 150 he gets.
So with this money, you will maybe be able to clean up all of your consumer debt. And that's it, correct?
Yes.
And then you're saying, can we just then fund our kids' college, and will that be enough to kind of be a blessing to the legacy that he left you?
Right. That's exactly the question.
Yeah. This may be a little technical. I don't know. This is kind of what went in my head, because I don't know if you feel this, Jesse, because there's 2 ways you can look at it. One, it's like, you use the money strictly for what he wanted, the kids' college. Or you use to pay off debt, and like you're saying, go through the baby steps, and by the time your kids are 18, you're going to have plenty of money to send them to college. So there's like kind of or I like the kind of the both options. So what you could do if it makes you sleep better at night, you could open up, a 529 or an ESA and start out with a little bit to put in there. So it's like you start the college fund with his money and then use the remaining to pay off your debt. And then as you and your wife get to baby step 5, then you guys fund the rest of it. But almost it's kind of like his money kind of kicked off a little bit of the fund, just
especially
to honor
at their
that.
age. Because if you put some money in there now at their age, you've got 12 and 15 years for that money to grow.
And the ESA has a limit, so I think it's close to
about
$2,000. Yeah, so that's $4,000 of $150,000 just to get them started, Jesse. Just so there's kind of a I don't know, a little bit of a symbolism there. Yeah, just to say, hey, there's some of that, and then using the rest, to pay off your debt, because again, his legacy for them to go to college will be fulfilled because of you guys being
Either
smart
way,
with
it's
it.
because of that legacy he left.
That's
and
right.
So that to me it's still there.
Yeah.
But I like what Rachel's saying about starting that ESA for them right now, and you could front load a 529 and get that money rolling in your favor, and the limits on that are going to be a lot different, and so you can put a lot more in there. But make sure you've got a good option for your area. I would connect with a SmartVestor Pro in your area. You can jump on to RamseySolutions.com. They're going to really help guide this decision and figure out what is the best vehicle to make sure that your kids' colleges are paid for and that this money grows in the best way.
Yeah.
But
Jesse, hear me say though, I would still take majority of it and pay off the debt though. Like, I mean, I'm just saying take a little bit of it just to kind of start it out of memory for him. But I would still use majority of it. I would put it towards the debt to set you and your wife up to really fund those college sooner than later.
And maybe set a goal.
Now that you guys proposed that option, what makes sense to me is if I were to pay off all we have is 2 vehicles and a school loan. So if we paid off the 2 vehicles and put the rest into a 503, then the snowball would already be so big we would be through the school loan in no time.
Okay.
Yes,
What's your household income?
About 110.
Okay. So either way, we're going to get rid of this debt fast. But I do like the idea of setting aside some of the money for the college for the kids and letting that grow for the next 12 to 15 years, and maybe set a goal and say, hey, we're gonna make sure that we have $100,000 saved by the time both of them are 18. And you can work with the SmartVestor Pro and start to go, okay, with a rate of return of this, how much would we need to put in to get there? And that'll make you feel better knowing that this money's going to grow and make sure that they're taken care of and that legacy was used wisely. So way to go, man.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. That sounds like great advice. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, Jesse. Thanks so
for calling.
much. Wow. That's really cool. It's sad to hear about the loss, but when you hear about them leaving that legacy where the kids can go to college debt-free,
I know. It's beautiful.
It just makes you go, that's the kind of legacy I want to leave.
I know. It's awesome. Yep. Absolutely.
Beautiful stuff. All right. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're considering a career in technology, I recommend Bethel Tech, and I'm not alone. Here's what Brendan said. Before Bethel Tech, I was driving Uber. Within 4 months of graduating, I got a job paying $60,000. About 2 years after that, I got a remote job that pays me $130,000, all thanks to what I learned at Bethel Tech. You could be next. Get started today at betheltech.net and get $1,000 to $2,500 off of your tuition. Again, it's betheltech.net/Ken Coleman.
I'm George Camel, joined today by Rachel Cruz. You are listening to The Ramsey Show. Open phones this hour, 888-825-5225. Our question of the day comes from Blinds.com. Find out for yourself why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. You get free samples, free shipping, and with the new promos they run every month, you'll save even more. Use promo code Ramsey to get the best deal.
Today's question comes from Joshua in Indiana. My wife and I are debt-free, including our house. Becoming debt-free has been important to us because of the spiritual component of not owing anyone anything. My problem is that I don't know many people that are truly debt-free. The people I know who are successful with money have taken out HELOCs on paid-for homes to invest the money in the stock market or real estate. My financial advisor thinks that I'm silly to not leverage some form of debt with interest rates being so low. My wife and I are considering doing a home addition that would cost around $100,000 to $125,000. My advisor says that I should take out $100,000 of equity from my house, invest it, and use the earned interest to pay for the remodel. This makes sense and sounds very appealing. However, I'm fighting not to wanting to get back into debt. I hear Dave talk about your study of millionaires and how people that got out of debt never go back into debt again. Unfortunately, I just don't see that done around me. What am I missing?
A lot to unpack here, Rachel.
Man, where to begin, George?
So, first of all, Joshua,
a lot.
way to go. Baby step 7.
Yeah.
Paid off the house.
I hope you stay there, Joshua. You're starting to move backwards, so.
Well, here's the thing. He's asking, the people I know who are successful have taken out HELOCs on paid off homes to invest the money in the stock market. And it really comes down to, what is your definition of success? Is it people who leverage debt up to their eyeballs and one day the market crashes and their life is screwed and they have to file for bankruptcy? Or is it, I don't owe anyone anything? And you said in the beginning that becoming debt-free has been important because of the spiritual component of not owing anyone anything.
So here's what's hard about all of this, especially when you get into this conversation about investing and real estate, and I can invest my mortgage payment, make more on the interest, and you know what I mean? Like, there's all these talks, whether it's
interest rates are so low, you're stupid to pay it off.
Yeah, about the mortgages or even things like this, like the HELOC. But here's what people, and you touched on this, George, but it's just true. Here's what people don't take into consideration is the amount of risk that you're putting on yourself that you don't have right now. Joshua, you have no risk. If something happens right now, you haven't paid for it. You're fine. Like, you don't have bills. And suddenly when you start kind of messing around, and again, the math could work. We could sit here and do a whole math lesson and it could come out on paper right. Like, it could come out. But what you don't factor in is risk. You don't factor in life. You don't factor in, that something could, happen to your, I mean, this is terrible to say, but right, that something could happen to your wife and she wants to stay home then with the kids and not work, and now you have this bill and you took this out and now you have to have the income because you took on this debt. I mean, like, it just snowballs into this insanity and you don't even have to step into that. Yeah. And so there's a level of that freedom that I think is way more successful than messing around with the numbers and trying to kind of get rich quick is what it feels like. Hey, I want an easy way to build wealth. Well, this is easy. Instead of actually working and saving up and paying for something, I'm going to finagle the market and finagle my assets that I have here to try to make some, it's like this math game. You know what? Get out of the game. Just save up and pay for stuff. It can be that simple and that clean.
Yeah. And it's amazing that they've done the baby steps.
Yeah.
And they're still at this place mentally of, was this the right choice? I mean, do you want a mortgage again, Joshua?
And fire your financial advisor.
100%.
Stupid.
Get rid of them. I highly doubt they're a SmartVestor Pro because they don't have the heart of a teacher. They're telling you to go back into debt and invest it and use the earned interest to pay for this remodel. That's dumb. You guys have the money.
How much is he getting, huh?
That's the question.
Who's going to win in this scenario, Joshua?
If I'm
You're
Joshua,
the financial advisor.
You've got to stop looking to the culture to figure out what success looks like financially, because they don't have a clue, man. Walk down the streets. Look at all of the cars with loans on them, the homes that are over-leveraged, and you tell me what success is when the bank can't come take your house when you can't make a payment.
Yeah.
And so you have all the income in the world. You don't owe anyone anything, and therefore you can pay for that home edition of $100,000. You can save up and pay cash for it, cash flow that thing without needing to take equity from the house and do all kinds of stupid. Don't go backwards.
That's right.
Good
Keep
stuff.
going forward. Thanks for asking, Joshua.
Yeah. Good question there. Steve joins us from Wichita. Steve, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. How can we help?
Yeah, well, trying to make a decision here. I've been a straight commission salesperson for 30 years. I'm an independent contractor. I've done very well in it. Last year was a bit of a struggle because of COVID. It did affect my business, but I still had a pretty average year income-wise. So then this year, thinking that everything would get quite a bit better, it actually hasn't. My business is down about 40% this year. So my struggle here is wondering if I should use some cash to pay off my house and a truck loan. Being on straight commission, I'm just not really comfortable pulling the trigger on that.
How much money do you have in cash and savings?
Well, right now I've got close to right around $100,000 in cash, liquid cash. I've got about 70 cash on hand. I've got a $10,000 emergency fund, And about a year ago, I started another independent sales job. It isn't sales, but an independent business that I make about $20,000 a year on that also. And I'm trying to keep that separately.
So what's your average yearly income? Obviously, this year was different.
Yeah, with the straight commission, I'm usually around 80 to 110,000.
Okay. And how much do you have in debt total?
The only debt I have is $41,000 on a house and about $13,000 on a truck. We have no other debt.
Okay.
I am getting ready to do a home improvement that I will use about $15,000 in cash to do that.
What I'm seeing here on paper is you could pay off the truck loan, pay off your house, and do these home renovations, all with the money you have, and still have some left over, and still have your emergency fund. Is that right?
That's true. I'm just being on straight commission for 30 years. It's just
you want to have a bigger emergency fund in case the sales don't come in.
Yeah. And it's just like I said, it is something I could do. I'm just hesitant to pull the trigger on.
Well, how about this, Steve? If you don't have a mortgage, your expenses are going to go down, right? So there's less to worry about there. Mm-hmm. And so then I would plan out what does 6 months of expenses look like if I didn't have a mortgage. And that's going to give you some peace here, way more than having the car loan and the mortgage riding on your shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because, Steve, you'll have about 30, from what I jotted down, if I got the numbers right, you'll still have about $30,000 left over after you do all of that, which is a pretty solid emergency fund. And you can always bump that up if it still does that doesn't make you comfortable. And I know the income went down. You said, what kind of business are you in? What are you selling?
I sell promotional products and corporate apparel.
Okay.
And so with COVID last year, there were no events. Everybody started canceling events. And I thought it would pick up quite a bit this year, and it just hasn't come up to my expectations as far as my business goes. Now, I don't know what next year is going to do,
Right,
I never know.
Yeah.
But this year's down. That's why I'm hesitating this year to, go ahead and chunk that money out.
And Steve, do you have anything in retirement? Do you have anything in retirement?
Yeah, my wife just retired, so she's got her Social Security, and we do have investments that we haven't tapped into yet. So she's pulling Social Security only.
Okay.
I'm 64, so I'm not ready to retire, and I probably won't retire until I reach full retirement age.
Okay. That's great. Well, I want you to still be thinking about that even before the house is paid off. If you want to throw some extra at the retirement, just because you're getting close to that age. Yep.
Yeah. But, man, the true financial security, true financial peace is going to come from not owing anyone anything. Get rid of that mortgage. Get rid of the truck loan. You'll still have plenty of money left over. Well done. This is The Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day comes from Proverbs 13:12. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a longing fulfilled is a tree of life. Dale Carnegie said, most of the important things in the world have been accomplished by people who have kept on trying when there seemed to be no hope at all. Open phones this hour, 888-825-5225. Rachel, I was just with my pal, Dr. John Deloney.
Yes.
And he gave me these little cards, and he just released these, and they're really fun. They're called Questions for Humans by Dr. John Deloney. And it's literally a pack of cards, a deck of cards that have questions. And there's 3 different kinds. You got the Parents and Kids edition, the Couples edition, and the Friends edition. And he gave me the Parents and Kids edition, which I don't have kids, and he gave us the Couples edition. And we thought, you know what? Let's try our hand at this.
And George was like, at the break,
Perfect.
Hey, let's go through a couple and pick some out. And I said, no, George, let's just randomly pick out of the deck.
This is Deloney
but
Roulette.
We have full permission because George and I are not a couple. that we get
Clearly.
to put at least 2 back if they're like inappropriate
That's
couple
fair.
questions because it's Dr. John Deloney's
And to be
cards.
clear, this is fun. The reason he did this, he's always telling people to unplug to connect with the real people.
Ooh.
And this is a way to actually have real conversation instead of staring at each other awkwardly.
Okay, you ready,
is this
George?
the card?
Here's my first one.
Oh, boy.
If you could try 3 different careers, what would they be?
Oh, that's a fun one.
Am I answering for myself, or does this make
I think you answer.
I answer
and
this.
I'll answer. Okay, 3 different careers.
I
What
got
would they
'em.
be? Hit me.
Number 1, I would be a political correspondent
That's good.
for a news network. Yep, absolutely. Follow
All right.
campaigns around. Number 2, I would be a singer.
Ooh,
Like
nice.
arena style, like T
Like
Swift.
Adele? Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah, like I would. But I almost would go for the younger generation, like the whole Miley Cyrus, Hannah Montana thing. You know, she
You want the crowd of
she
12-year-old
dropped-
girls.
She dropped Hannah Montana. I'm like, you could have taken that brand. Hannah Montana could have gone to college. Hannah Montana could have gotten married. Like she could have made bank on that brand, but she decided to go a different direction.
Clearly.
But I would have done that. I would have done like the teeny bopper. Yep. Yeah.
All right.
And then my third, my gosh, maybe like on a Caribbean island type situation.
That's not. How is that a career?
I'm not sure.
You just want to be on a Caribbean island?
I'm just gonna be a
Okay.
resident of Caribbean.
Well, there you
island.
go, folks. She
Okay,
wants
you
to
go,
be
you go.
political correspondent, a pop star, or just live on the Caribbean. Okay, for me, I'm going to go late night show host.
Okay.
Maybe Rockefeller Center would be fun.
Yep.
That's a one career. Mailman.
Really?
There's something about such a simple, you're just delivering people the mail.
I love it.
And you just walk around.
And everyone loves the mailman.
You get
when
your
you
steps
see 'em,
in.
your steps in.
Yeah, you get to wear the shorts with the high socks. It's kind of like dorky and old school.
love
Mr.
it.
Rogers had a mailman. It just feels cool.
I love that, George. You could do that.
And then lastly, weatherman.
Oh, meteorologist.
I grew up watching meteorologists and on the news, and I just thought that looks like fun.
You know, a storm chaser would be fun.
You're much more adventurous. I just want to be in front of the green screen pointing. Rachel wants to be in the middle of the storm.
I'm like, George,
This is fun.
The EF5 tornado is coming at me.
I'll be
And
back
you're
in the studio. Back to you in the studio,
all
George.
safe. This is fun. Do one
This
more.
is fun.
Do one more.
Okay.
Just real quick.
All right.
Hurry.
This is what America needs. All right. If I took you to a tattoo parlor right now and you had to get a tattoo, what would it be? That's a fun one.
I would get like kids' initials, Winston's, and like I would do like a
family oriented.
something. I don't know if I'd want it. I don't know. Maybe like on my ring.
Oh, that would
Like,
be nice.
yeah.
Like all the initials on your ring
Yeah,
finger.
do that. Yeah.
That's
Yep.
sweet.
Something like that.
That's
what
nice.
would you do, George?
I was gonna say my wife's name, but I feel like getting an actual little like camel symbol, like a little, because my last name's Camel with a K. It only feels right to get an actual camel, maybe with Whitney's initials in it. That would make it sweet and not as weird. But I'm not a tattoo guy. I'm not, no one would take me seriously. If I had a full sleeve, no, they're like, nah, we don't buy it. I'm like, well, crap. I have
We
this
don't
on my
believe it.
body forever now. But
Hey,
we got a lot of
sometimes-
tatted people here at Ramsey, and they look really cool. One of our
Yeah.
engineers in the booth. James Childs, no tattoos. Okay. Well, we tried. Well, folks, if you want to check these out, you can go to RamseySolutions.com. They've got a deck of cards for couples, for parents and kids, and for friends.
Yes.
So there we go. Check it out. Questions for Humans by Dr. John Deloney. This is great to bring home
It's
for the
actually fun.
holidays.
Yes, it's fun.
Because it's sometimes hard to connect with family, and
It's a
you're trying
fun
to catch
game.
up, and this kind of relieves the tension, and you really learn a lot, and you'll have a lot of laughs.
I know.
And it's a great thing.
Mailman George with the
Mailman.
camel tattoo.
Yeah. I always was obsessed with UPS guys. All the brown, I had a thing for the color brown.
Yeah.
Just total, I don't know what. What
They
can
always
brown do
bring
for you?
happiness. They
what
bring
can
you.
brown do for you? All right, let's take a call before James takes us off the air. Scott joins us in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Scott, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hey, how can we help today?
So I'm a 29-year-old, currently paying an additional $2,400 on the principal of my mortgage each month.
Way to go.
And I should have it. Yeah, thanks. I should have it paid off by December of 2023 if I keep on being able to pay the same amount. I don't really enjoy my job right now, and I was thinking about going back to college and getting into maybe a field of engineering or finance. Just kind of wondering an opinion, should I wait until I pay off my house before going back to college, or should I put paying off my mortgage on hold so that I don't have to go into student loan debt, and I can instead use that money for my student loans.
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, here's the thing. I don't think you don't have to be in a rush to pay off the house. I don't want you to be miserable for years just to say, well, I paid off my house, now I can pay cash for school. Can you save up and pay cash for school as soon as possible and then attack the house after that?
I mean, I'm sure that I could, and especially if I get into a higher paying job after college, then it'd probably even be easier to pay off the loan, and that's sort of what I'm weighing right now.
What's your income?
Right now, I make $46,000 a year, and my wife makes about $20,000, so combined close to about $70,000.
And you have $2,400 extra to put on the mortgage every month after all said and done?
Yep, absolutely, because I've been following the baby steps, got all out of debt, and we don't have many extra expenses. We just kind of live minimalist.
That's awesome.
So great. Scott, do you know what you want to do? Like, I almost would want you to have like a career out there that you're working towards before you go get a degree, because there are situations that you don't even need a degree, depending on where you work, where you could change jobs and not feel like you have to go and invest in a degree. Now, some career paths, obviously, you have to have higher education so that would make total sense. But I just wonder if there's something out there that you could do that still gets that fulfillment and you can change career paths without having to get a degree.
Sure. What I'm looking at out of my degree right now would be environmental engineering would be kind of the goal, or possibly a personal financial person would be kind of my idealistic world. But yeah, I've looked into other things like certificates and things that I could get as well, and none of them have really stuck to me as much as those career paths.
Sure, which is, totally fine. Well, I think once you kind of figure out and narrow down, hey, this is the path I want to do, whether it is doing engineering or personal finance, but once you kind of figure that out, then going for a degree that you're going to need in the dream job after. If you hold on, Scott, Kelly can pick up and give you Ken Coleman's new book, Paycheck to Purpose, because he walks people through a plan, kind of where you're at, of kind of figuring out, okay, what do I want to do? What are the steps that I need to really change? And she said the clear assessment too, as well. We'll give you that, because all of these tools are really going to, I think, help give you more insight and more of a game plan to have something that you're shooting for. So hopefully those will help, Scott.
And then make sure that education matches the goals and figure out what is the right college choice that I can afford in cash and cash flow. And that house will pay itself off. I mean, you guys are so gazelle intense. I'm not worried about that house getting paid off soon. I want to make sure that you're living in your purpose, doing something that you really love to do, and that you're getting paid well to do it. Way to go, man. That's awesome.
Great job, Scott.
All right, that puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. I want to thank my co-host, Rachel Cruz. Good times today, Rachel. I want to thank our friends in the booth there, James Childs, our producer, Kelly Daniel, our associate producer and phone screener, and you, America. It's been a fun one. We'll be back with you before you know it. Until then, spend wisely, save intentionally, and give generously. This is The Ramsey Show.
Did you know you can listen to The Ramsey Show on your smart speaker? Just tell Alexa, Google Assistant, or Siri to play The Ramsey Show podcast. Check out all Ramsey Network shows on your smart speaker today.